Hello, this is going to be the jury charge in literary for the 100 class. I'm going to start out with some straight matter. I'm going to read this once at 80 and then pick it up at 100 a second time. Okay, let me give you a short word list. You're going to hear driving, wheels, condition, jump, hazardous, stopping. Okay, here we go. Ready? Driving can be hard if the road is wet or covered with ice or snow. Stopping distances are increased when these hazardous driving conditions exist. When you are driving under these hard conditions, remember that it will take you longer to stop and that heavy braking may result in losing control of your car. If the surface is slippery, avoid any quick movements of the steering wheel. When you apply the brakes, pump steadily and evenly to avoid locking the wheels. Slow down and allow extra stopping time. It just takes a split second to lose control of your car. So be sure that your mind does not wander. You need to keep your attention concentrated on your driving. You should not be tense, but you should be fully aware that what you are doing is driving a lethal weapon. Okay, now I'm going to read this again at 100. Okay, ready? Driving can be hard if the road is wet or covered with ice or snow. Stopping distances are increased when these hazardous driving conditions exist. When you are driving under these hard conditions, remember that it will take you longer to stop and that heavy braking may result in losing control of your car. If the surface is slippery, avoid any quick movements of the steering wheel. When you apply the brakes, pump steadily and evenly to avoid locking the wheels. Slow down and allow extra stopping time. It just takes a split second to lose control of your car, so be sure that your mind does not wander. You need to keep your attention concentrated on your driving. You should not be tense, but you should be fully aware that what you are doing is driving a lethal weapon. Okay. I'm going to give you some jury charge. I will read this at 100. Ready? When injury is done by a vicious or otherwise dangerous animal, the owner is liable to the injured person in a sum that will compensate her reasonably for all detriment suffered by the minor plaintiff as a result from the injury, unless the injured person knowingly and voluntarily invited the injury and brought it upon herself. The principal law does not require you to find the owner negligent. if the defendant was the owner of said dog at the time of the injury and knew the dangerous character of the animal, he becomes liable and an insurer against injury by it. Even if the dog were normally domesticated, if it showed traits which would make it a source of danger to persons who come within its vicinity, it is a dangerous animal within the meaning of the law. If a person knowingly and voluntarily invites an attack by a dog and so brings injury upon herself, the owner is not liable. Okay, I've got some challenging material. The topic is shoplifting. You're going to hear merchants, distraught, professional, security, unique, confused, electronic, epidemic, proportion, shoplifting, prosecution, impoverished, deterrent, censors, observers. All right. I'm going to read this once at 80 and then again at 100. Ready? In today's fast-paced world, merchants face a unique problem, which is almost at epidemic proportions. The problem of controlling and protecting against shoplifting. The shoplifter is not always a professional thief. He may be a distraught and confused housewife, a frustrated teenager, or an impoverished elderly person. Sometimes the shoplifter actually works for the store he is stealing from. In most states, legal prosecution against shoplifters can be a major deterrent to the problem, but the biggest deterrent is the careful selection of security personnel who are trained observers and can prevent the act of shoplifting before it occurs. Shoplifting is now being curtailed in many businesses through the use of electronic sensors and specialized marking and pricing techniques. Okay, so now I'm going to read that same article at 100. Ready? In today's fast-paced world, merchants face a unique problem, which is almost at epidemic proportions. The problem of controlling and protecting against shoplifting. The shoplifter is not always a professional thief. He may be distraught or a confused housewife, a frustrated teenager, or an impoverished elderly person. Sometimes the shoplifter actually works for the store he is stealing from. In most states, legal prosecution against shoplifters can be a major deterrent to the problem, but the biggest deterrent is the careful selection of security personnel who are trained observers and can prevent the act of shoplifting before it occurs. Shoplifting is now being curtailed in many businesses through the use of electronic sensors and specialized marking and pricing techniques. Okay. I have an article here for you. And this is regarding court reporting and keeping receipts and all of your records. Ready? One subject new reporters seem uncertain about when they first enter the workforce is what type of records to keep. Your first year of reporting is a very exciting and sometimes overwhelming time. But by keeping good records, you can avoid a lot of stress in managing your work and not panic when tax time rolls around. Your system doesn't need to be complex to be effective. Actually, the simpler your system, the better. One of the first things you'll want to keep track of is your reporting assignments. If you work as an official reporter, you should maintain a computer file containing your daily dockets, which are simply lists prepared by the court staff listing all cases scheduled to be heard on a particular day. Each department in the court system will have its own docket or calendar. Maintain these in a file folder on your computer and label the folders with the dates so you have them in an organized fashion. I recommend against simply saving the docket sheet using different outlines to label these files because they can easily become unorganized and will be difficult to find if you need to pull an old job up. I recommend that you always start naming your files using the date first. That way, you can easily find the job by searching the date. It's much easier to find a file folder from a job that has a practical naming system, especially when you need to verify what proceedings were held on a particular day. Freelance reporters will find it important to maintain a calendar on their computer or phone to record their jobs. You should enter the date and time of the job, the location, the name of the deponent, and the name, phone number, and email of the attorney who has requested your presence. If you accept jobs from more than one court agency, also indicate which agency has given you the job along with the agency job number. Don't delete your calendars at the end of the year. They contain valuable information and should be printed, saved on a disk or flash drive, and stored in a safe but convenient location for easy reference. Both official and freelance reporters will find their workflow much easier to manage by also maintaining a file log of transcript requests. As an official, I used an Excel sheet and made columns for the date a transcript was ordered, the caption, case number, date, and type of trial, the party ordering the transcript, whether copies were ordered, the date the transcript was due, and the date of actual delivery. Deposition reporters should maintain a log with columns tailored to fit the date of the job, name of witnesses, date ordered, date due, date delivered, names of those ordering copies, whether copies were provided. Some busy reporters who find themselves working on multiple transcript requests keep an even more detailed log with columns for each stage of transcript preparation to be checked off as they are completed. It really doesn't matter what Excel sheet form your transcript law takes or how many columns you use. I like the simplicity of a basic sheet. Others may prefer to use a more detailed sheet to maintain their logs. The important thing is to make your log fit your situation so that you can easily keep track of your due dates and monitor your work in progress. Financial records should also be kept throughout the year so that tax time does not become a yearly nightmare. Nothing beats the services of an accountant familiar with the court reporting profession, but it's up to you to maintain records to present to the accountant when the time comes. Of course, you'll want to keep track of your income. The simpler the system, the better. When I opened my depot agency, a more advanced system was put into place, but I have continued to maintain my little basic Excel sheet for quick and easy reference. All right, great advice there. All right, I have some legal terms for you, and then I've got a couple of paragraphs regarding those legal terms that explain them. Okay, all right, so we have opening, direct examination, which you can write that as DREX, directs. Cross-examination, I write that as KROX, crocs, cross-examination. Expunged, irrelevant, which you can write as IR or IRT. Overrule, I write that as OFRL. Sustain, you're also going to hear sustained. Colloquy, evidence, you can write that as EFD. Immaterial, IMT. Redirect, recross, witness, and objections. Okay, all right, here is your paragraph. The opening statement to the jury is given by each attorney. Direct examination and cross-examination may be followed by redirect examination and recross examination. Each witness gives testimony under oath. When a witness knowingly gives false testimony under oath, the witness is guilty of perjury. Objections may be raised by either attorney. The judge will either overrule or sustain these objections. The attorney raising the objection may feel that the evidence presented is irrelevant or immaterial. An exchange between the attorneys and the court is referred to as colloquy. Evidence may be expunged from the court record by the judge. Okay, that concludes our jury charge and literary for the 100 class.